The Maple Leafs celebrated John Tavares' 1,000-point milestone last night, but didn't get to celebrate a victory as they lose to the Rangers in regulation. We'll break it all down and give our 3 stars of the game. All that more coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. I'll tell you what, the best bet on the board from last night, while we're still technically, the game is underway. We're recording like 10 o'clock Tuesday night, but as of now, the Senators up 3-0 on Arizona. First game, they got that new coach bump. It's coming in hot. Sens money line was the best bet on the board last night, Dave. Tonight, Dave.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's almost like, I wouldn't say a guarantee, but I don't know many teams that lose when they get the new coach, especially teams that there's a difference between obviously teams that are really bad and get a new coach. But the Senators against the Arizona Coyotes with the new coach, that seemed like a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
Although,
as
we say this, they could very well easily blow the lead and lose this game.
Yeah, and then we'll look like idiots in the morning when everyone's listening to this on their way to work or on the train or doing whatever they're doing throughout the day when they listen to our podcast, getting ready perhaps. And thank you to all you great people who join us on a daily basis, the everydayers who listen to the Locked On Leafs podcast. We know there are many of you, and we do thank you very much for listening along to our show. Where I was looking at the number recently. We're like 835, 36 shows deep or something like that. Like we're pretty deep into this bad boy, and you know there's a lot of loyal listeners who do tune in every day. There's a lot of great people on the on the Discord app, and we haven't plugged the Discord app in a while, but we do have a Discord. If you're new, you're new to the show. We do have a Discord app where we do have great dialogue, on game day during the games. You can go check that out. We'll put the link down below. Let's get into what we saw happen on the ice tonight, though, Dave. Leafs falling 5-2 to the New York Rangers on, well, what I've been calling John Tavares Appreciation Night. He gets a great little ceremony pregame to celebrate his 1,000th point achievement that he hit last week. So let's start there. Pretty classy ceremony for the Leafs, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Leafs do ceremonies really well. Like I've seen so many of them throughout the years. That was a pretty good one. Like you don't see very often the Leafs celebrate 1,000 points by a player, right?
No, yeah, you're right. That doesn't happen too often. I'd imagine it'll start happening a lot more as long as Austin's going to get there. Like he's signed up long term, he'll get there by the end of this 5-year contract. If Willie and Mitch stay around too, like they'll be able to get there as well. So maybe there's going to be more of it in the future. But it's been a while since we've had that type of ceremony. I mean, I guess Sundin would have been the last one to kind of do it.
He might have been, actually. I'm just trying to think back. Like again, this is one where I have to ask someone who obviously will know more, but
yeah,
we've had 1,000 games many times before.
No, even that hasn't come around too often. Like only 98 people have, or 1,000 games a little bit more often, obviously, than 1,000 points, but still a pretty great accomplishment. I'll say one thing about it. It was also really cool to, they involved the kids too, which I think is awesome when you kind of get the kids a little something to give them, that little gold mini stick. if I got one of those bad boys, I probably would have been hitting my brother with it on the ice. So good for them for not hitting each other with the mini sticks. Because I bet you those things would hurt. Like those look pretty solid. So kudos to them. Although they probably were hitting each other throughout the game. One little thing, and I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But the painting they gave him, don't you think he should have been like one photo in an Islanders jersey, one photo in a Leafs jersey? Like I know it was a gift by Toronto, but like he spent the first half of his career on the island. A majority of those 1,000 points were scored on the island. Like it's a career accomplishment, not a Maple Leafs accomplishment. I'm probably gonna take heat. I'm probably gonna take heat on that, but I don't know. I thought maybe that would have happened, but guess not.
I'll say this. I mean, I can see the reasoning behind why you would say that, but let's also say two things. The Islanders could give him something if they really want.
Yeah, and they very well might, like behind closed doors, send them something, but
And also screw the Islanders because the fans keep booing them every time.
it's got nothing to do with honoring the Islanders. It's, hey, John, I know how much that organization means to you. We thought we would include it in our gift to you just by understanding Tavares, not the Islanders. You're not, doing any solids to New York.
I just think it looks nicer as an all Leafs painting. I just think
would, 'cause you're a diehard Leaf fan. And you're not. You're a biased Leaf fan. That's why.
Hey, I don't have it here. I do have like a lot of pictures with a collage of like players, and I do have ones where guys are wearing different jerseys. I'm not, I don't just have Leaf stuff hanging around.
I see a Tavares jersey behind you. I see a Rielly jersey behind you. I don't see like a Kyle Okposo Islanders gear behind you. I don't see it, pal. Don't see it. Anyway, on to the game, Dave. On to the game. The Leafs take an L, 5-2. Just the second regulation loss, though, in their last 16 games, and their first loss in regulation since November 25th. It's been a while since the team didn't pick up at least 1 point in a game. What did you make of their efforts tonight?
I didn't hate their effort. Like they went toe to toe with a really good Rangers team. Like we expected this game to go a bit differently. I didn't look at this game and say, they're playing like terribly. But at the same time, like it wasn't a perfect game. They were like that first period, the Rangers had the majority of the chances. And I did say the Leafs needed to have a good start. Fortunately for them, Martin Jones played really well in that first period.
Yes, very well. Like especially early on, yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably the part that I didn't like from their effort tonight is they didn't get off to a good start. But when the Rangers did get the first goal, they responded, right? They didn't check out. They were putting up great chances all night. Unfortunately, couldn't capitalize on a lot of their chances. And that was the unfortunate part for tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought tonight went pretty much how we expected it to go, to be quite honest with you. Like, I expected to see some sort of response from New York. I thought Shesterkin would be a lot better. And, I figured it might be a little more low event after such a wild game a week ago. Both sides knowing that, these opponents can strike at any time, try and button things down, defensively and try and not give up a whole lot. And, that's what we saw. Like, there wasn't a lot of high danger chances throughout the entire game. I mean, if you take a look, there's only 15 high danger chances combined throughout the whole game. So, and the Rangers only had 4. They had 4 high danger chances through the entire game. That's all situations, not just that 5-on-5. So Toronto, they knew that they were going to have to kind of help out Martin Jones a little bit, like they, and I thought they did a pretty good job of it. It's unfortunate that the hockey gods, are averaging things out. Like we've seen the Maple Leafs over the course of this stretch of 16 games now where they've gone 10-1-4. Like, they've had a few big comeback wins to get some of those points. They've gotten a couple of bounces here. I guess this is again, like I said, that's law of averages kind of coming back. And now the bad bounces kind of going against them. And it ends up kind of costing them a couple of points. Like Toronto didn't necessarily lose this game. I just think a couple of unlucky bounces, and because was there 3 of the 4 goals that were scored on Jones, all were deflections that he had had no idea where the puck was because of the deflections, and just kind of ended up in the back of the net. So thought the team played pretty well, pretty stout defensively. Yes, to your point, the start wasn't great, but I thought that overall the game was decent. And you got a good solid outing again from Martin Jones. Thought Matthews played really well again tonight. A couple goals again. This guy just continues to score in bunches. Like, this is the 5th time in 7 games he scored 2 goals. He's got 9 multi-goal games already on the season. We're only 28 games in.
Yeah, I mean, your desire for him to get 50 and 50, your prediction, I should say, to get 50 and 50, that's how you do it. You have 9 multi-goal games. Puck, like, he's and it's against Shesterkin, one of the top goaltenders in this league. And I'm just realizing I did not have Auston Matthews in one of my fantasy lineups. For some reason, did not update. Oh, I'm not happy right now.
Tough. I've done that so many times this year. Like, my fantasy lineup has been so neglected. That one game I had Stamkos. He scored 4 goals. Guess where he was? On my bench. Yep. Been there, buddy. Sucks. Hate when that happens. Hate when you come to the realization too. We were just like, I forgot to set my lineup, and this guy just went off. I'm toast for the week. Such a deflating situation.
Fortunately, in our Locked On Leafs league, I didn't bench it. Well, we don't have him, but at least we had Stamkos on up in that one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and the night he went off for 4, he did. He did pretty good for us as well. Why don't we take a quick break, Dave? We'll break. We'll come back. We'll get away from the fantasy talk. And we'll get back into reactions from tonight's game. We'll get to the good, the bad, the ugly as well. But before we get into all of that, I do want to tell you guys about one of today's show sponsors, and it's our good friends over at Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Matthews could score 50 goals. The Leafs could hoist the Stanley Cup, and you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. I tell you, all you have to do is pick whether studs like Matthews, McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, whoever will record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in any given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Leaf fans. You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use and details and locational availability. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. It's Mike DiStefano and Dave Morassutti. We're reacting to the Maple Leafs 5-2 loss to the New York Rangers. If you're not subscribed to the podcast already, we ask that if you're enjoying the content, please do. We're on a road to 5K. We're not too far off from getting there either, I may say. So we're hoping to get there by All-Star break. That's our goal. And if you are listening along and you listen daily or you listen periodically and haven't subscribed, if you would like to do that now, that'd be greatly appreciated by us, whether on, go subscribe wherever you get your podcast from, also on YouTube. All right. What else did you pull from tonight's 5-2 loss to the Rangers, Dave?
Well, I mean, you look at, Auston Matthews having a great game with him on my fantasy bench. Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to mention it anymore.
We took a break to get away from the fantasy talk. What are you doing? Come on.
Martin Jones.
Tommy Cutlets. Old Tommy Cutlets.
Brutal. I do think I like Martin Jones again tonight. Again, looking at those goals, like the first goal that he let in, he didn't let it in. bounced in. Like,
Yeah.
try scoring that goal 5 times like over again. Probably not
Dude,
happening.
it was like pinball. The thing pinballed off like a few. I don't even know who went off of last. I lost sight of the puck. I couldn't even imagine being Martin Jones, and I've seen the replay 6 times. Imagine watching it live, and I still don't know where it is. Yeah, like he had no clue where that puck went. It ended up landing like a foot from the line, like inside the blue paint, and then just rolls in. McCabe tried to kind of scoop it out. He noticed that it was there as it was trickling in. Yeah, that one was tough. The one off Rielly on the power play, and then the one off of Will Lagesson also, really, really bad bounce. I mean, the one on Lagesson though, like, doesn't that kind of seem like the kind of shot where Panarin kind of knew what he was doing? Like
Yeah.
he's thinking to himself, okay, this, I could shoot this off this defenseman's foot, and it could ricochet on net, maybe create a rebound, maybe go into the net, and like that one almost seemed on purpose by Panarin.
I do think, yeah, I mean those types of goals, world class in a lot of ways. Even if it doesn't go off Lagesson, let's say Jones gets something on it, there's a good chance that also gets a rebound, right? You put it in an area where you think you got a good chance of it going in, and the Leafs, the puck wasn't bouncing their way tonight, so the Rangers kind of knew that was happening, and they took advantage. They made the puck bounce their way, so like that was bad. I did think Morgan Rielly was good tonight.
Yeah,
really good plays on both ends of the ice, and that's kind of, again, another thing that shows just how valuable Morgan Rielly can be, in case anyone forgot how valuable Morgan Rielly can be.
Well, that's a good point that you bring up there. Do you think that we do you think he's getting enough credit for the season that he's having by Leafs Nation? Like, he's kind of been quietly going about his business, but like the guy's racking up points. He's playing well defensively. He's got all these injuries, and this guy's had to step up and play big time minutes. I saw a stat the other day too that Morgan Rielly, I think it was today on the broadcast, Morgan Rielly leads all defensemen in like zone exits, which is an incredibly important statistic. Like, that means that he's physically taking the puck from his own zone and transporting it out of danger and into the neutral zone and transitioning puck up, play up the other way. Like, that's an important statistic. You can go, oh, analytics, blah blah blah. It's an important statistic. So he's having a terrific season. I feel like it's going a little unnoticed.
I do think so. And people keep saying he's not a number one, he's not an elite number one. Look, there's a lot of reasons to believe that. I do. But sometimes you don't need to have, in Morgan Rielly's case, he doesn't need to be a Drew Doughty for this team. He just needs to make smart plays. And like, the expectation for him isn't to be a Drew Doughty, because he's not being paid like a Drew Doughty either. But I just think, we pile on him when he's having really bad games. The Discord can really get on Morgan Rielly too at times. But when he's having good games, he should be lauded for it. And I think tonight was one of those examples. He breaks up what could have been an easy scoring chance, and then sets up Auston Matthews for the first goal of the game. That's what Morgan Rielly at his best. That's what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was just, a good, smart play to jump up into the rush and, get it back to Matthews. Had to do it through some traffic too. Like, there was a couple of sticks that he had to kind of get the puck through in order to get it to Matthews. So, yeah, really smart play, heads up play, really, by Mo. And hopefully he can keep this going. Like, that's the thing with Morgan Rielly. When he's healthy, he does look the part of a number one. He definitely does look like a top pair guy. But then when he, gets banged up a little bit and the skating isn't as crisp, then you start to see things, kind of fall apart a little bit for Mo. So as long as this guy can stay healthy throughout the year, and knock on wood, he has so far this season, he's a great player for the Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to the good, the bad, and the ugly from tonight's 5-2 loss to the New York Rangers. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NHL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 moneyline bet. Did you think the Rangers are going to win tonight? You should have made the bet. You would have won yourself your moneyline wager and an extra $150. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the Locked On Network. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. It's Mike DiStefano and Dave Morassutti. I got a text, speaking of FanDuel, a buddy of mine at 1050, the producer of the afternoon show Gameplay, sent me a ticket that he just got from FanDuel. He had a three-way parlay. He had Auston Matthews to score 2 goals. He had Nikita Kucherov to score 2 goals. And he had David Pastrnak to score 2 goals. He bet $2.50 and he won himself like $800 on FanDuel. Unbelievable wager. What a wager.
Just like you see those ones, just like, if only I had the thought to do that.
I know. And then when it hits, you're thinking to yourself, why did I only bet $2.50? Why didn't I bet $20? It's like, I was so scared. Actually, he did text me. He's like, typically I usually only, like, he bets those periodically because he's like, eventually they're gonna hit. I mean, he was right. He's like, I usually bet $1, but today I felt extra confident. I bet $2.50. He's like, well, there you go. Glad it worked out for you, pal. And it was Matthews. Matthews was the final leg, too, that had to hit. So when he scored the second goal there in the third period, I had a quick text from him saying, let's go dinner or lunch on me tomorrow because I'm going to be on Gameplay once again on 1050 at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to hold him to that. Producer Cheese, definitely going to be buying me some lunch on Wednesday. All right. Unfortunately, the 2-goal performance was wasted by the Maple Leafs, though. They fell to the Rangers 5-2. Let's go through, like we do on every single loss here for the Maple Leafs. We'll go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good, though, Dave.
I mean, Auston Matthews. Guy is I think he's got 13 games with a goal, and 9 of them are multi-goal games.
Yeah, he's got more multi-goal games than solo goal games. It's insane. Like, if you're going to bet an anytime goal, you might as well bet 2+. Legit, like, at this point.
Pretty much. I don't know how many guys are close to the multi-goal games in the league this season, like, besides Auston Matthews. Because that's like, it's impressive, like, you know, guys who can score on a consistent basis. Like, Matthews isn't scoring every game. Not many guys do. But for him to be scoring so many times, like multiple times in a game, and how many hat tricks he has this season, that's what's making this like goal scoring season so special for him.
Yeah, it's honestly really impressive. And if you look at, like, I'm just looking at his game logs right now. He went through a stretch there too, like at the end of November, right before that game. You know, the calendar flipped actually, and he's just been on fire in the month of December. He's got 4 2-goal games in his last 5. Actually, 5 2-goal games in the month of December alone. But prior to that, he was in a bit of a funk. Like prior to that Boston game where he scored 2. So he's got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 goals in his last since the Boston game. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 11 in his last 7 games, just 1 goal in the 8 games prior, right? Like, he had hit actually 1 goal in the 9 games prior to that, excuse me. And then prior to that, there was another streak after his first 2 hat tricks to start the season where he only had 1 goal in like a 8-game span. So like, this guy's had multiple. He's had 2 droughts where he's gone like 7 or 8 games with only 1 goal, but it's the multiple goals that he's scoring where it's, you look at the whole total, he's got 25 now, a league leading 25 in 28 games played, 29 technically. If you're talking about the 50 and 50, he now has to do it in 49 games because He was out sick the other night in Pittsburgh, so it makes it a little bit tougher for him. But hey, scoring 2 on your first night back does make it a little easier to get to that milestone. But hey, talking about tonight, like he was terrific. 2 goals on 5 shots, had 3 blocks in the game tonight as well. I thought he used his brain really well to create space for himself to get the shots off for those goals. And that's when he's at his best, when he's kind of weaving in and out of traffic and finding those soft spots, those soft zones to get shots off. I thought he was good off the puck as well, in terms of positioning and winning some puck battles for his lines. So I thought that Matthews was great. Martin Jones deserves another, special shout out in this good category. I thought that he was good. I thought he was great. Marty Jones is now, that's 3 straight starts in a row where he's played really, really well. Like, yeah, if you're going to look at the box score and you'll see, he allowed 4 goals on 35 shots. It's like an 870 save percentage. It looks like Martin Jones is coming back down to earth. No, if you watch the game, that's not at all how it went. He was terrific tonight. If you want to actually look at it in terms of, okay, how many saves did he make? He made 31 saves on 32 shots, technically, because the other 3 shots on goal that ended up in the back of the net were really just bad luck. Like, those were just bad luck shots. So Martin Jones, to me, it's 3 straight starts. And honestly, maybe you keep it rolling here, man. Give him another start. Ride the hot hand if you are the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Marty Jones definitely deserves a shout out here. He was good tonight.
Yeah, he's made me feel less anxious about not having, Joseph Woll in during the stretch. And we talked about it on the last episode. Like, this is a guy who has over 400 games in the NHL.
Yeah.
He's put up, the numbers haven't always been great, but he's also found ways to have success. And
absolutely.
He went toe-to-toe with Ilya Shesterkin tonight.
Igor.
Sorry, Igor. Why did I say Ilya? Igor.
Yeah. Ilya Samsonov, Ilya Sorokin, and then you got an Igor in there.
All Igor's fault. But, he's one of he's a top, and he's an elite goaltender in this league. And Martin Jones toe-to-toe. There's not much else you can say other than, that's just impressive.
Twice.
Yeah,
Twice.
Right.
He's done it.
1-1. They're 1-1 in the battle of the Joneses and the Shesterkins.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Although, Jones, I look back throughout his career, he hasn't done very well against the Islanders, or against the Rangers. But hey, the last 2 have been. March
2nd, the Rangers come back to town. I want a Jones Shesterkin rubber match. Let's see who gets it done.
Say March 2nd.
March 2nd.
You think Martin Jones is on the roster March 2nd?
Well, if he's not, he's be on waivers.
That's what I'm saying, Brooksy. Come March 2nd, who's this team's number 2 goalie? Samsonov or Martin Jones? If you had to place a wager, if this was on FanDuel, the futures, the Leafs backup goaltender on March 2nd will be Martin Jones or Ilya Samsonov. Where are you laying your cash, Dave?
Just because I'm not even confident about it being Samsonov. I just feel like it's going to be Samsonov.
All right. I'm not going to answer it. I'm just going to let you answer it. So you can be the one who's going to be wrong. It's all good, buddy. Bad tonight. The start. I didn't love the start. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but they didn't come out well, considering we said that had to be a key, right? We saw how well they played in New York a week ago when they came out to a hot start. It was not that tonight. Martin Jones had to make some really big saves early. There was 3 big saves in that first period. He made that one stop on the paddle, which was unbelievable. There's a point blank save that he made also on that Brodzinski guy. He had a couple of big stops early in that game to kind of keep the Leafs in it and keep this scoreless through one. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Leafs in that, kind of first 15 minutes of that period.
No, and it wasn't like they allowed clear-cut chances on net, right? Guys were getting through, and it's one of those things where if you don't get off to a good start against a team like this and you get behind the 8 ball, it eventually like the constant need to do a comeback. And again, they were down multiple goals late in the game, maybe hoping that they could pull off another comeback. It gets tiring. It really does. And the start, considering how good Martin Joe was playing, it would have been nice if you at least found one way, even if it was you had a bad period. But, even if you get a greasy goal, you just find a way to get something to go by. You feel a lot better of yourself going into that second period, right? Because at least then you say, okay, we'll bounce. Didn't get off to a great start, but we got a goal. We got ourselves ahead. Now the Rangers are going to be trailing a little bit here. We can catch them, trying to cheat a little bit to come back.
Yeah. But didn't happen. And the Leafs ended up losing 5-2. The ugly tonight, Dave. What was ugly? Curious to get your thoughts on it.
That Schneider goal.
Yeah.
Ugly.
So who though? Who's ugly on who?
I know a lot of people were giving Jake McCabe slack because flack for not being back. But
that was me. Like that, the pinch there was just not a good reach.
But the thing is,
to allow a defenseman to do that, like to chip it in and allow him to get past him, like that's just not a good play.
No, it's not a good play. It's not the first time. Jake McCabe, he's looked pretty good, right? He has a 5-game point streak. He's looked pretty solid this year. But then you go and the thing with defensemen is you can have a good stretch, but then a play like that is just like, oh, Jakey boy, you can't do that, man.
Yeah, and I think he was on the ice. I think he was on the ice for 2 tonight. I want to say.
But that one there was egregious. I didn't like how Tavares defended it, but at the same time, Tavares is not supposed to be the guy there defending, right? And I just didn't like how that was how soft. It was a soft play. It was a pretty easy way to characterize it, but yeah, I know Jake McCabe has to be better there. I know that Mike Van Ryn gave him a little flack on the bench. They had a very short conversation, basically saying, you done screwed up there. Don't screw up like that again.
Yeah, let's not. You've been playing good hockey. Jake. Like McCabe, we talked about on the last show how, he's actually playing, he's had a good turnaround after a really difficult start to the season since coming back from injury. I mean, that coincides with this team, that 15-game stretch where they went 10-1-4, now 10-2-4 in the 16 games since he's returned. But I don't think it's a coincidence that this guy comes back, he's playing quality hockey, and all of a sudden the team's, been winning games and getting points. And he, who's supposed to be part of their shutdown pair, has been, playing pretty well and even adding a little bit offensively as well. As you mentioned, 5-game point streak. Did he get a point tonight? Did that keep rolling tonight?
Yeah, pretty sure he got an assist on the second Matthews goal. Let's say change the score on that one.
Let me. I'm just looking it up right now, and you are correct. He did. Yeah, he got the assist on that one. Him and Willie. So Nylander keeps his point streak going as well. There's a lot of point streaks going with the Maple Leafs. I think Rielly, I think, is on a point streak right now as well. There's a lot of guys who are just continually putting up offense. Like this team in general, over the course of the last 15 games, 16 games, averaging over 4 goals a game. So there's a lot of points in offense to be had, and it's come from a lot of different people too, which is good to see. If you are a Leaf fan, really, really good to see. All right. Anything else that you want to make note of from tonight's game?
I like Tyler Bertuzzi's game.
That was a really nice play by Marner to kind of tip it in, and he was able to settle it and bring it in for a breakaway. He's the guy who's been snake bitten this year, though. I feel like he's somebody who deserves a lot more production than he's gotten.
Do you know what his expected goals was tonight?
Probably the best on the team.
87.6.
Is that the best on the team?
I'm pretty sure it was the best on the team tonight. I'm
pretty sure he leads like the league.
Like even like that was a game there where you're just like he could have had 2 goals himself in that game, and that's the unfortunate part. It's also, you just got to find a way to get them to go in, at some point.
Yeah, he was credited with 3 individual scoring chances tonight. Tyler Bertuzzi was.
Him, Marner, Tavares, and Bertuzzi were the top line in expected goals tonight.
Yeah, it does not surprise me at all. They've played really, really well since they've been put together. And then obviously you got Nylander, Matthews, and Nyes playing some solid hockey as well. I mean, Matthews is putting up 2 goals a game with these 2 guys on his wing. So they got something cooking right now, because even that third line, I think more games than not, you're coming out saying, I think they outplayed their opposition. Like you come out thinking, okay, I like what I saw from that third line of Robertson, Domi, and Calle Yarncroc. And the fourth line, still some question marks there. Yeah, some nights they're good, some nights they're making some boneheaded mistakes. But I guess they can't be perfect, right? Unfortunately it's a cap system. You got to deal with what you got there. But hey, there's still time to make some changes. I think we both expect for there to be some trades at some point to improve this roster, improve this club. But you look at this last 16 game stretch. I mean, hey, 10, 2-4. It's not bad. Not bad for a Maple Leafs team.
No, not. Yeah, they didn't get the win, but I think they've been pretty solid. Like in the month of December, they've been among the top teams in the league. So you got to keep the stretch. They got some, on paper, easy games, but on paper they always look like easy games for the Leafs.
I know.
Then you got 3 games in that. If we have a stretch here that includes the Sabres, Blue Jackets, Senators, Blue Jackets, and the Hurricanes.
The Blue Jackets aren't an easy out. Did you see them? The beat down they just laid on the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah,
9-2. 9-2. They beat the Buffalo Sabres last night. Insane, bro. That's crazy.
We're talking about coach being fired next.
Oh, Donnie Granato, you think?
Man, like at some point, this team has to say enough is enough.
But they've gone through so many coaches. So many coaches.
Oh, yeah, they have.
Like, is the coach the problem?
Something's wrong. Buffalo.
It worked last year. How come it's not working this year? You know why? Because they don't have a goalie, Dave. They don't have a goalie. They can't get a save. Devin Levi was atrocious against Columbus. Atrocious. I don't think Luukkonen did anything when he came into the game either. I think they both gave. Let me look into it. We'll look at it. We'll quickly take a look, and then we'll sign off for the night, because this isn't Locked On Blue Jackets. You can go to Locked On Blue Jackets for that conversation, or Locked On Sabres. Probably a much more fun podcast, because he's going to rip into the team. I know Joe DiBiase really well, the host at Locked On Sabres. He is going to go bananas after that defeat. 9-4, sorry, was the final. 9-4. So I think Buffalo ended up scoring a couple of goals in the third period there. But
they made it a little closer, huh?
What's that?
They made it a little closer, right?
Yeah, they made it a little closer. It was 7-2 after 2, and then it ended up 9-4. But yeah, you had Levi gave up 4 goals on 18 shots, and then Luukkonen gave up 5 goals.
Give him that. He was like 3-0-1 going into this game, and then
he'd been playing some decent hockey since being recalled, but not tonight. He was not great. Really sick goal by Marchenko, though. If you haven't seen it, search up Kirill Marchenko goal. It's worth taking a look at. It's hockey porn for those people who love to watch cool goal scoring videos. All right, buddy, let's wrap it up here. That'll do it for us today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcast platforms, including on YouTube, and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on X at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti. Follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. If you're watching on YouTube and you've enjoyed the show, please, we ask that you would kind of smash that like button, leave a comment down below as well. Let us know your thoughts on the Maple Leafs performance against the New York Rangers. We'll be back with another episode for you guys tomorrow. But until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.